It's an all-out clearance event going on right now at Farmers Furniture in Dublin. It's clearance time in every department. We've got 3 one-of-a-kind clearance items, all at half price. Been wanting a new recliner? Here it is, regular $4.99, only $2.49. Need new bedding? How about this queen size mattress set? Regular $6.99, now just $3.49. How about this brand new sectional? Regular $800, now just $3.99. But you better hurry, bring the truck. It's first come, first serve, all at Farmers Furniture, only at our Dublin store. No money down with our special in-house financing and no interest until 2019. We've got big savings throughout the store, like this dinette set, only $2.99, and this queen size bedroom suit with chest, regular $13.49, now just $6.99. Plus, open an account with a $4.99 purchase and get this Bluetooth speaker absolutely free. So hurry on in to Farmers Furniture at the Dublin Mall in Dublin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Real Talk here on TV 35. I am your host, Pat Brock. We are here with the Lawrence County Schools Rachel's Challenge Stakeholders Meeting, and we've got an Associate Superintendent of Support Services, Miss Holly Deal, with us. Hi, Miss Deal.
Hey, Pat. How are you?
Doing wonderful. We're so thrilled that you all are bringing this program, this project here within Lawrence County School Systems. Share with us about what we're about to witness.
We're real excited in Lawrence County Schools to be rolling this out. We've got several programs that we will be implementing in Lawrence County Schools in the next couple of weeks. We've got some whole group activities that we will be doing in all of our schools. Elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools will have whole group presentations. And we have some stakeholder meetings on we have one on the east side and one on the west side. And then we have some small group activities at the middle schools and at the high schools where students will actually follow in the whole group activities. We'll get together and brainstorm activities that they can actually implement at their schools.
Wonderful. So this is an interactive initiative, and Dr. Bregman, now, he had implemented this before in other school systems. Is that correct?
That's correct, and it actually is a very sustainable program. It's something that's not a one-shot deal. It's something that we'll continue doing and move into next year with professional development and more student activities.
Very good. And so you invited key people and organizations from the community. Kind of just rattle off a few of those organizations that are going to be here to be able to take part in this.
Well, today we had the stakeholders meeting, and what we were looking to do today is talk to people in our community that work with our students in a lot of capacities outside of schools. We have a number of agencies, whether it's community mental health, SOAR, we have students that are involved with doctors, that are involved with Department of Juvenile Justice, that sometimes are in front of the judge. We had the Sheriff's Department here today. We had a number of people, Dr. Sandy Sousa was here today. So we wanted to invite a lot of different agencies here today to tell them about the program.
And the thing is, too, I mean, the different stakeholders that are here, the different people that are here in the community, it's kind of like a partnership. It's a partnership because we're working to work together for the good of that child, because bullying is a serious issue. There's been incidents, and so here it is. You all are doing something. You're acting. There's a movement that's taking place to make sure that the kids are safe, right?
It is, and we have to all take steps toward addressing things and working with things together, because it's not going to happen overnight. Right. It's something that we need to work together with. We invited several pastors and youth pastors today. We invited some parents today because we want to get word out in the community that we want to be proactive and not reactive.
Very good. Well, all right, we're about to begin. The Lawrence County Schools Stakeholders Meeting for Rachel's Challenge is about to be taking place in just a few. Thank you for all that you all do.
Thank you. We appreciate your being here.
Thank you. This is Associate Superintendent Miss Holly Deal.
My name's Dan Bregman, and I'm blessed to be holding the title of Superintendent in the Lawrence County School District. I'm surrounded by great people, as you can see, and I especially want to recognize some of the folks that have organized today's meeting and the activities and displays. First of all, Cassie, that works behind the scenes in the central office, has really done a great job with this display right here as you come in. I've never seen anything like it. And this is my third go around with Rachel's Challenge. So Cassie, thank you very much for your work and support with this endeavor. And also Ms. Holly Deal, our Associate Superintendent, has been working behind the scenes to plan for the Rachel's Challenge process, and she's been on the phone repeatedly with the folks out in Colorado to help me get this process underway. What is Rachel's Challenge and why? When I first arrived November 1st, Facebook blew up, and I have to really recognize Sheriff Dean here for his support with some information that was being shared over social media. I'm not going to say that was mostly untrue. It was all untrue. And that typically happens when we have issues happen in our school, welcome sir, issues happen in our school system, and those folks on the outside of the system do not have all the facts. Sometimes those gaps of assumptions are filled with just that, assumptions and speculations. So we ran interference back and forth in terms of trying to trace down the comments that were being made on Facebook and confronting the parent that was trying to create a situation that was basically non-existent. She was recruiting input and those people that have experienced bullying in Lawrence County schools to come forth and create comments. So we were on the defensive at first, but now we're on the offensive. There was a perception out there, and probably still is, that we're not doing anything in Lawrence County schools to confront and address bullying. I will not tell you that bullying doesn't exist. That would be a myth. Bullying does exist in just about every school in the United States. So it's up to us to effectively and proactively, if we can, prevent bullying, but definitely when it occurs in our schools, to address it. Right now, as I'm speaking to you, there's probably some cheerleader out there that's getting very, very nasty texts that are threatening her, calling her names because she went out with the star basketball player last weekend. That happens. It's human nature. Bullying's been going on. So it's up to us to try our best to create a safe learning environment for every child, not just that cheerleader, but every child that walks through our doors. New kids moving into school systems from out of state or out of town walk into a brand new environment with no connection to anyone else in that building. They're automatically a prime subject to be bullying, made fun of, and harassed by their peers because there's nobody there to say, time out, that's not cool. So what you're going to see today is a program that basically creates an umbrella of kindness and support for every child that walks through our school doors every day. But that first assessment when I got here regarding bullying, I quickly confirmed that we are doing stuff at the school level. Our administrators are addressing it. Our teachers are reporting it to the administration. But we can't report out to the general public because of confidentiality laws. So there was a perception that we're not doing anything when these complaints would be shared with the administration and the staff. So our plea was to seek a program that's going to give us basically a greater awareness in the public's eye that, yeah, we're aware of this situation. We're not hiding our head in the sand or burying our hand in the sand. We're going to engage all stakeholders in a process so everybody can own an anti-bullying program in our school system. Rachel's Challenge was created after the Columbine incident. The Columbine incident is unfamiliar to all the kids sitting in our classrooms because Columbine happened before a lot of these kids were even born. It happened, I think, in 1999, if I remember the year correctly. Rachel was the first fatality in the Columbine incident. After her death, they conducted the memorial service for Rachel, and her mother and father and brothers were basically taken back by the number of comments and students that came up to them, embraced them, and said, "Rachel changed my life." Her kindness and her quest to support every child in the learning environment, all of her peers, extended well beyond her classroom peers and on throughout the school. Her impact in that school was significant just because she had a vision to change the world through kindness and acts of kindness. Not only did they see that happen at the memorial service, but after that, her mother and father found her journals in her room, and she wrote some pretty amazing comments regarding sharing kindness and changing the world. So I'm not going to steal the video presentation from you and be redundant here, but just to give you a little snapshot about the development of Rachel's Challenge and how it occurred. This family, the Scott family, is very passionate to use the tragedy that occurred in her family and at Columbine years ago and turn it into something that's going to have a positive impact on as many schools as possible throughout the United States. If you attend one of our sessions coming up at one of our schools, you will see the student body completely silent as the presenter speaks. It strikes an emotional piece, and it connects with every student in the building. And until we connect with every student on a personal level, our anti-bullying efforts are pretty much temporarily short-term and non-sustainable. So what Rachel's Challenge does is it involves 3 prongs of support. First of all, it directly touches the lives of the students that see the presentation. There's a staff development piece that engages the staff in terms of professional development, and then there's a community awareness piece that you're participating in right now. We seek support from the community because the community is a valuable part of our school system too, because you guys have to deal with our students on different levels, from mental health to law enforcement. So it is a community that we're engaging to make sure that this process is deployed, number one, with fidelity, with community support, and it is sustainable. So I'm going to be brief on the introduction and go ahead and turn it over to Holly. Do you want to share a video real quick?
"71% of students report bullying as being a problem in their school. Students can't learn if they're in a fight or flight mode. They need to feel safe and connected."
Teenage bullying and teasing is an epidemic in this country, and the death rate is climbing.
There have been high-profile cases in every corner of the country.
You know, I see these kids in schools every day. So many of them are from broken homes. So many of them are from homes where they go home and see drug abuse. They see alcoholism.
And for them, their lives are filled with hate and anger and fear.
I really wanted to kill myself because I was so miserable.
I was like, "What is it?" And he said, "Well, I can't really describe it to you." He said what they're doing is they're doing presentations in schools all over the country. And the story that they're telling is making a tremendous impact.
Rachel's Challenge is working hard to promote safer, more connected schools where teaching and learning can thrive.
Our administrative team came back and just said, "We've got to have this program."
I sit in the auditorium and I watch the impact that Rachel's story has on these students.
2,000 students sit in the gymnasium, quiet, respectful.
No matter the audience, the reaction is always the same.
Some of the toughest guys I know were impacted by Rachel's Challenge in a very positive way.
You could feel it that, like, man, this was, pretty much hitting everybody on the heart.
Everything around me changed. It changed the way I live my everyday life, the way I look at little things.
Those students used to have issues with each other. Now they're high-fiving each other. Things are changing.
You see kids who put walls up, and that comes down, and you get to see the real person. And I think that was really important for all the kids to see.
And they start looking around and they start seeing other kids, really seeing them for the first time and understanding that they're just like me. I'm not alone in this world. And I meet kids that on the day we showed up, they were thinking about pulling the plug. They were done. They were hopeless.
I had everything planned out, and I actually had a rope and pills in my bedroom waiting for me when I got home.
It didn't matter what the reason was, but they were hopeless. They needed something. And Rachel was that something.
We get hundreds of letters every year from students, and I remember reading one that just brought me to tears of a 10-year-old girl who had an exact plan to end her life. But at the end of the letter, she said, "Rachel, you saved my life."
so many adults I meet, they'll say our kids today, they're lost. They don't have respect. They need to have more rules. And they keep telling kids what they can't do. I see kids that are dying to have someone say, here's what you can do. Here's how you can make a difference in the world. Here's your value.
The issue isn't just about ending bullying. It's much deeper than that. It's about connecting with students and having them connect with each other. They need to feel accepted, wanted, loved, and appreciated. We all do.
Our kids today are dying to know they're not alone. They're dying to know that they matter and that they're cared about.
It's about having compassion that they have a story, and having other students realize that when they see this person as a bully, that that's just one layer to them, that this isn't something that defines them at all.
Since Rachel's challenge arrived, you can feel, you can see, you can taste the difference.
We found that there's been a decrease in the number of bullying taking place in the school as a result of Rachel's challenge.
And Rachel's story was that huge thing for them that made the difference, that helped them turn the tide. And they went from hopeless to hopeful that not only their life would mean something, but that they could make a difference in someone else's life. That's the magic of Rachel's story.
Hi, I'm Anna Grace with Meyers Equipment and Supply, your dealer for the complete line of Can-Am side-by-sides and ATV products. For hunting, farming, or riding the trails, Can-Am has the models you need. If you want all-out performance, choose the Can-Am Maverick line of side-by-side. With models up to 172 horsepower, 20 inches of ground clearance, 24 inches of suspension travel, power steering, and four-wheel drive, there is nowhere you can't go. And nowhere you can't go quickly. Coming soon, the Maverick Trail, with features like its larger sibling. The Maverick Trail will go places you never thought possible. Come into Meyers Equipment today and see the full line of Can-Am ATVs and side-by-sides. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
Last week, I was wrestling around in my head about community engagement. My mind quickly went to two individuals and two departments. Chief Tim Chapman with the Dublin City Police offers his unwavering support, and I know this gentleman here is Sheriff Larry Dean. From day one, when I reached out to him, he said, I'm in whatever it takes. Let me know what I need to do. So we met last week with him and several of his outstanding staff members to talk about this process, and he's with us today. So Sheriff Dean, would you like to make a few comments about these initiatives?
Like I say, I'd like to thank Dr. Bregman for inviting us in to be a part of this, because I realized last year when I became sheriff, I had been sheriff about a month when a bullying problem was brought to my attention. Well, at that time, I made a couple comments about the bullying and the media took it as that we wasn't concerned about it. But my only comment was I thought we had a good program going in our schools and we were being real supportive. But I realized with one word or one sentence that you can make, public perception perceives that we don't care about our kids out here. So I told Dr. Bregman, any way that the Lawrence County Sheriff Department can be involved in bullying, we gonna get on board with the program. If we gonna furnish as much manpower to sit down with our staff, we also, to come to the meetings. As I understand in this program, there's gonna be some one-on-one situations, or 10 to 1 or 6 to 1. I'm gonna try to get officers. I think I've got enough officers at the Sheriff Department that'll be willing to donate their time to get in with this bullying program and sit down and have one conversation with these kids. And it only takes one, because I can remember a couple of situations in my high school career or even in junior high where somebody was making fun of me. But the difference was I had good family support. I had a good group of friends around me, so it didn't bother me. Yes, there's a couple instances. I can think of a couple of things right now that I realized I was being bullied. But, society, we didn't have social media. The whole world didn't know it 5 minutes later. Only those peers that were around me realized what was going on. And but like I say, you know, we actually had a meeting. I thought I cut these off. Is that mine? But anyway, I want to support the Lawrence County School Board and all the citizens of Lawrence County that the Sheriff's Department will support y'all in any way that we can. So anything that our department can do, we're going to be actively involved in it. I have a personal conversation with Bobby just about every day. He brings me information that's happening every day at the school, and we got some good resource officers that really have the interest of the kids at heart, and he's bringing it back to me, so we're going to help y'all in any way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheriff. Again, it does take law enforcement and our organization and the community working hand in hand to address bullying, and we're blessed to have with us Judge Hilbin, and I hope I pronounced that correctly. Judge Hilbin, would you like to say any words as someone who sees the outcome of a lot of these situations in your seat? Would you like to make a few comments, Judge?
I do want to say that, you know, when you think about this country's future, our future, you know, I'm to my later years, but our future are our children. And quite frankly, we don't spend enough time on our future. I deal 2 days a week, Tuesday and Wednesday of each week. On Tuesday, I deal with what's known as DJJ matters, which are children charged with crimes. On Wednesdays, I deal with those children who are in DFACS care or that have special needs that have to be addressed. Might be parents on drugs, but you know, those are, they spill over into the school system. I get calls from social workers all the time, and I try and be responsive to them because, and they, the teachers, the school, you're the first line. You see a lot of this before I do, and I appreciate it. And yes, we need to address the problems that are in the school now, and I'm glad someone is being proactive with it, and I intend to fully support it in any way I can. And I encourage everyone in the community to become involved in it, because it's not something that the sheriff can solve. It's not something that I can solve. If the two of us could solve it, it would have been solved a year ago, wouldn't it, Sheriff? Yes, sir. But we can't. We need your help. We need the community. We need people who will step up and talk to a child. Sometimes a child just needs a hand, someone to say, I care about you. Let's discuss this. Let's talk about it. And I'm blessed with good staff at the courthouse. I've got a clerk that knows these children, knows the parents, recognizes them, and takes time. I've got an officer there who spends time. I've got a bailiff there, and every time after we have court, you'll see those two gentlemen pulling these kids aside to talk to them. Mr. Baker, my bailiff, is very active in church, and I'm blessed with that because he gives the religion to them, and Calvin gives them the this is what's going to happen if you don't change, son speech. It's something I can't give them sometimes. But I say that to say, become involved with a child more than just 1 day a week. If there's a child that needs encouragement, encourage them. Teachers do that. And any time that you have a problem that you want to address something with me, my door's always open to a teacher. Thank you.
Before I do, I want to share something with you. I was not familiar with the program Rachel's Challenge, and I've been online and on YouTube looking at a lot of information about the program. And the more I look, the more I find. And it's a very powerful program. It's very research-based. There's a wealth of information about it on YouTube. A lot of school systems have posted things they've done. Cassie was telling me about a lot of information that's on Pinterest. Lots of activities that schools have done in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools. Rachel was a real special little girl. She had a sense that she wasn't going to live a long time, that she wasn't going to make it past her youth. She had a lot of information documented in diaries that her parents had no idea that she used to write about. When they moved her dresser, they found something she had done when she was a little girl, and Cassie printed it out, and let me share what she had written. It said, "These hands belong to Rachel Joy Scott and will someday touch millions of people's hearts." And her parents found that. Can you imagine? Parents finding that after their little girl passed away. Many people came up to their parents at the funeral and many, many days later, telling them story after story about how Rachel touched their lives, things that she had done, little acts of compassion and kindness. Rachel did little things, and that's what we want to share with our students in elementary school, middle school, and high school, and have them come up with plans of ways that they can do things in our schools. But we work with our kids in so many ways. Y'all work with them at churches, in activities at SOAR, at mental health, whether it's at the courthouse, in a lot of different capacities. Sometimes it's in delinquent type activities. But we all are a part of a team, and that's why we invited you to be here today. We all are a part of this venture together, and we have to take baby steps. It's not going to be something that's going to be solved overnight. We need to kind of work together and work with our parents. We have several activities planned, and I gave you a schedule of those things. There's one thing that's not on there, though, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But if you look at that, starting next Monday, we've got group events planned at each of our schools, and they're age-appropriate activities. But starting at East Lawrence Primary, we've got activities planned, and we invite you to be a part of those things. We've got whole group activities planned at East Lawrence Primary, East Lawrence Elementary, East Lawrence Middle School, and East Lawrence High School. We're going to combine those schools together because of the size of the student population. On Thursday, we've got something planned at Southwest. Because of the size of those schools, we've got a grade span grouping of 3 through 5 and at K-2. Northwest Lawrence will be on Friday. We've got 2 groupings. We've got 2 different showings, and we'll do those in the afternoon in the gym. The following Monday at West Lawrence Middle School, we're going to have those presentations down the hallway here in the gym, here at the Owl. And then on the 6th, at Tuesday at West Lawrence High School, we'll have 9th through 10th at 8:15 and 11th through 12th at 9:15, and that'll be at West Lawrence High in the gym. Now, a very important component, and that's where we need your help, is to help get word out in the community, because a lot of times when we have community events, we don't get very good participation with our parents. We need to get our parents involved in this, because although we have them for 6 hours a day, they have them for a lifetime. We've got to get our parents there. And we've talked to our principals about trying to find creative ways to get those parents there. So we need you to help us get word out. However you can get word out to the parents, we really plead for you to help us with that. We've got 2 events. One is on the east side on February 1st. That'll be at the East Lawrence High Gym at 6 p.m. And then we have a west side event, and that'll be on February 6th at the West Lawrence High Gym. And if somebody on the east side can't make it at that date, by all means, they can go to the west side event and vice versa. We did a presentation for the principals this past week, and we're having our stakeholders event here. Now, there's a real special event at both middle schools and both high schools. It's called Friends for Rachel, and that's not on yours. And I would like you to be a special part of this, and we're going to have some sign-ups on the table. What this is where student-led groups are going to be put together on the afternoons of the middle school and high school meetings. So on the dates that you see for West Lawrence Middle and West Lawrence High, East Lawrence Middle and High, we will have students meeting during the afternoons, and the time's already set for West Lawrence Middle and High. I'm going to meet with Dr. Hall after this meeting and set those times with him. But we have a real small, intimate group of kids. They're going to meet with the leaders from Rachel's Challenge, and they're going to, after that large group, get together and talk about what can they do to develop ideas and plans to help carry forth ideas in their school building to make it real for their school, and to help roll out ideas in their school building and make this happen for their school. We're going to start seeing if we can create things going in their school building and make it real and happening as of that time. It's going to be a baby step happening, as far as it's not going to happen overnight, But while things are, the momentum is happening and kids are emotional and they're excited about things, we want to catch that momentum. So that afternoon, they're going to start with a plan and developing ideas, and we're going to start then. Now, it's not going to be a one-shot deal. We're going to start this year. We're going to begin. We've got a plan. Dr. Bregman told you about the chain reaction next year. So we're going to move forward from this year. We got a plan next year, and we want to continue with activities as we move forward. We've got professional development for our teachers, and we're real excited as we move forward with this.
I can't carry on with the meeting without recognizing our Board of Education. Ms. Kathy Sweat, Ms. Brenda Hilton, Mr. Kenny Stewart, Mr. Kenny Payne, and Reverend James Brown. Those 5 individuals stepped up to the plate. When I was sharing with them, they were seeing it too on the Facebook comments and stuff, and without wavering, they said, "Do you have any ideas of what we can do?" And I said, "I think I do." They gave me the thumbs up, full support, approved the funding. The funding for this first year around for Rachel's Challenge is coming from our local funds, and it costs us a little less than $4 per child in our school system. So that doesn't seem like a lot of money, and it's really not for the benefits that we're going to gain out of this investment. So total for our school system's $25,000, and we are paying that out of local funds because I think the safety, security, and the stability of our children is priceless. So what value can we apply to that? You saw the testimonies and the videos of the kids. This next video is a little bit longer, so bear with us. It's very informative. So at this time, we'll go ahead and show them this video, and then I'll bring it to a close after this video.
It's really good to be with you all here this morning to share my sister's story with you.
You get to hear a story. You get to hear an amazing story. A story about a girl named Rachel Scott.
This is what is going to change the culture of your school and change the lives of your students and your faculty members.
On April 20th, 1999, in Littleton, Colorado,
2 students walked into Columbine High School with guns and bombs
and proceeded to kill 12 students and 1 teacher.
It definitely got to my heart.
I was really moved by today's assembly, and I think we should do it all over the country.
It chokes you up. For one thing, it's such a tragedy. So much good has come of it.
My daughter Rachel was the first one to be killed in the Columbine tragedy at Columbine High School.
Rachel's Challenge today has had an absolute phenomenal impact.
It was everything I expected it to be and more.
About 2 weeks after her death, her family discovered an essay she wrote for 5th period class.
And I found it underneath her bed. It was caught on the mattress springs.
And the essay was called My Ethics, My Codes of Life.
But I think that this assembly should be seen by every junior high and every senior high kid in the United States of America.
In this essay, Rachel challenged her reader to start what she called
a chain reaction of kindness and compassion.
It, reached my heart. That really reached me deeply. It was really good. It really inspired me to be kind.
She said, "I have this theory. If one person will go out of their way to show compassion,
then it will start a chain reaction of the same.
People will never know how far a little kindness can go."
I think Rachel's Challenge is one of the most important messages out there today.
It's giving students permission to reach out, to be kind, to be positive.
Rachel's Challenge gives you an opportunity where you have kids coming to the forefront, and they're the ones deciding to step up and bring about this cohesive community that caring is important.
Another goal that Rachel wrote was on the back of her dresser when she was 13 years old.
She drew an outline of her hands.
And inside the tracing, she wrote,
"These hands belong to Rachel Joy Scott
and will someday touch millions of people's hearts."
And by the time my family and I read this had already come true.
And over the past 9 years since Rachel died, over 11 million people have heard the story about her.
A lot of people are already trying to be nice to people and remember Rachel's Challenge.
We have 6 basic belief systems, and we think that Rachel's Challenge reflects each one of those.
In my 20 years in education, I've never seen a program like Rachel's Challenge that includes every element that I, as a school principal, is trying to infuse in my student body and in my community.
Hi, I'm Jeff Cannon, President of Citizens Bank of Lawrence County. If you're presently a customer of ours, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing us to be your bank. We appreciate the confidence you have placed in us and enjoy providing you with the most up-to-date banking products and services to satisfy your needs. If you're not a current customer, we would like to invite you to stop by and let us show you true community banking at its best. We concentrate on our local community, doing our part to make Dublin and Lawrence County a better place to live, work, play, and retire. We recently introduced 2 new products, eStatements and Access Now, our mobile banking app. Both of these products will help to make banking with us more convenient and will also help to provide you with a safer and more secure banking experience. So for all your banking needs, just give us a call or stop by and let us show you personal banking at its best. Citizens Bank of Lawrence County, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender.
So he asked, how many volunteers do we need? The schools have counselors involved, some administrators involved, and some teachers involved. But they have the capacity to have 10 students to 1 adult, and we want to have staff members involved, but the more people we have there, the more that they can handle students. So if you're interested in participating, then we can have more students in there. So I told principals that if we had volunteers and I have their names, then I would let them know. Then they can plan for more students. They can't really plan for the students unless we know how many that we have that are volunteering. So if you are interested in volunteering, by all means, write your names down, or if you don't know how many that you would have to volunteer, just put your name down and let me know that you would get back with me to let me know, in your situation that you would be able to volunteer. Dr. Hall said that, depending on how many volunteers would be there, he would plan for the number of students. If there were 40, students, we would have 4 staff members there. If we had 10 staff, people there, then we could have 100 students there. But we can only.
Is this the students that's reaching out to get involved in the Rachel's Challenge to start with, or?
So basically, the Friends for Rachel, or what they call the 4 Club, is a small group club that will develop as a spin-off from the large group. It will actually become a club in the school, the 4 Club. And that club will be the organizing club of ideas for that school. And it could be a part of a club in a school. That could be some of their activities, but that could be a separate club. We've talked to the high schools that they could join it as activities of one of their clubs. But this first activity is a 10-to-1 ratio. Now, in the next activity that we do next year, the ratio would be, in that activity, 4 students to 1. So as we move into next year, that activity is going to really need a lot of volunteers because the ratio will be 4 students to 1 adult. So it will be a very focused activity next year as we move forward. So this year, the maximum number of students that they can have is 100 in this activity coming up next week. So we really want a mix of having staff in there, but we definitely would love to have some of you in there as well because you work with our students in a lot of different ways in the community.
We're focusing on the professional development piece for our staff members because they're right there on the front lines. So that's the first step. That parent piece is an interesting comment. I don't know. I've never done a parent training, but she asked the question, can the parents come in and participate in the professional development that we have planned on your sheet? And the answer is we're going to start off, rather than opening it up to all the parents in the community, we need to make sure we get our staff members trained first. So that's a good question. Let us do some research to see what parent piece is out there because that is another missing link in terms of training them.
Follow up. Oh, go ahead. When I spoke to the gentleman that I've been working with out of Colorado, there are a number of webinars that we would use with our staff for ideas for how each of them could implement a small thing, and then they connected chains. And then each grade span had connected chains within their school, and then each school had connected their chains, and then they looked to see how far did those chains connect. Do you remember seeing how the chains, some of the students were walking through a path through the woods? They were trying to connect those chains from one school to another school, and so they were bridging through the community. So there's a lot of things you can do trickling outside of your school, but the first thing we want to do is focus within the school.
let me expand on what that chain is. I don't think we were clear on explaining how that chain is created. The chain is a result of these little strips of paper that are placed throughout the school, in teachers' classrooms, in the front office, in the cafeteria, wherever they may be. If I saw Holly open a door for someone and she's a student, I would grab a strip of paper, and anybody can do it, and write down, I saw Holly Deal open the door for Daniel today. And they'd take that, loop it around, and either tape it or staple it onto the last piece on that chain. So that encourages kids to identify that good behavior in the school and the staff members. Anybody can do it. And there's a competition to see who can create the longest chain for the rest of the year. Then there's a culmination of events that transpire at the football stadium. That's the video you saw. All the schools get together and bring their chains and they connect them. And some of them have been extremely long, going around the ball field multiple times. So that's just a big celebration and recognizing the chain reaction at the end of the year. So it's pretty interesting to see the kids get involved, the staff get involved, and again, it's made to recognize, that process is intended to recognize those positive behaviors that we want kids to practice. Okay. Good questions. Are there any other questions, comments? Okay, sure.
One other thing that I liked about it is it's not creating something more for teachers to do. It's something that fits really well with an initiative that we've already got in place that's called PBIS. It's a plan that we've already are working with and spent a lot of time with. It's a behavior management system that we've been training on. Our teachers are implementing within the school system. But these are things that when I've watched a lot of information about this, teachers and schools are already working on a lot of these things. So this dovetails really smoothly with what we're already doing. It just really puts a focus on it and highlights things that we really want to work toward. It's kind of like funneling everything toward one goal. So to me, it was a really worthwhile initiative, and we're real excited about that, and we hope you will be too. So,
if you are interested in writing us a check, there's always a money aspect to it. If you are interested in partnering with us either through grants or through other financial means to support this initiative, there's always an opportunity for you to do that. We welcome that. Again, our Board of Education is committed to getting it covered, but we extend our hands in partnership to all of our agencies and organizations that support our children and our community. We're going to endorse these agencies anyway, just from your mere participation. But again, if you have access to grants or funding to promote safe schools, we definitely are at the table, welcome to talk about ways in which you can do that. One of the things that the students commit to, and basically the Rachel's Challenge is an actual challenge and a commitment from every student within the school. And Ms. Deal and Ms. Cassie, where'd she go? Created another framed piece of work here for me to read. It says, I accept Rachel's challenge. Number 1, eliminate prejudice by looking for the best in others. Number 2, dare to dream, set goals, keep a journal. 3, choose your influences. That's a big one. Input determines output. Number 4, kind words. Small acts of kindness equal a huge impact. And then 5, start a chain reaction with family and friends. So that's the commitment that our kids recognize and sign a pledge to support throughout our school system. And that's the banner that you see with all the signatures. I make it a point to sign every banner in the school system because I'm behind it too. And I commit to that challenge. So with that said, are there more questions, comments, anyone from the group? Well, I want to tell you thank you very much, especially those from the business and the community sector. Thank you for taking time out of your schedules today to come in this morning. This is a great turnout. We have over 20 members of the community here this morning supporting this initiative. I want to thank our tremendous staff members that are here, especially those that made this morning's meeting possible and helped support the deployment of Rachel's Challenge. It's a tedious task. There's a lot of information and materials that are scheduled to arrive at each of our schools this Friday. So there's a lot of administrivia, distributing the booklets and the paraphernalia in preparation for these presentations at our schools. If you want to come by any of our schools to see the Rachel's Challenge presentation, the door is open for you. Just follow the protocol, check into the office, let them know what you're there for, and go. You'll probably have to find a place to stand because usually they're standing room only. But thank you again for your direct involvement and your support for our students. It's all good, and we're going to be successful with this process, and I look forward to our first school presentation and our community events that are coming up too. There are 2 community events, one in the east, one in the west. It's on that sheet. So if you can get out to one of these community events, we'd love to have you as well. I don't know if the brownies will be as good, but we'll try to give you something.
I attended Oconee Fall Line Technical College, and like many others, I was considered a non-traditional student.
My classes at OFTC have taught me the different aspects of a criminal mind and the way the criminal acts.
The term non-traditional career refers to jobs that have traditionally been held by one gender. That would be like males in cosmetology or females in welding.
Anyone can do it, regardless of the gender, and as long as you put your mind to it, you can succeed and achieve all your goals.